out there in my van, and I realized how much I love traveling so much. And then I realized at the time, it had been a while, and I realized I didn't really want to be doing the sales job. Now that wasn't Praxis' fault. Like I just had this thing of like, I just wanted to get out of the house, and then maybe I could have been a little more considerate, and like I wanted to be a video editor at the time. So I ended up leaving my company, and I just started traveling. And I had like like literally living in a van is like $300 a month, and I had made like, you know, I had like 2 or 3 or 4 grand or something. And so I just started traveling in my van, and I just like went to New Mexico, and then I went to Colorado, and I was in Arizona. And then I stayed in Arizona for a bit, and then I had this opportunity to start doing some photography and video editing in Florida and other parts of the country. So then I went on my real adventure. Like when you're from the West Coast, and then for the first time, like driving at 17 to the East Coast, like the East Coast, like and through the South. I've never been through like the rural deep South. Like I grew up in the desert. And so then I started driving, and it was like midnight, and I see these like, I'm like in like rural Mississippi, and the trees are like growing over, and like there's so much humidity that it's like foggy through the street lamps. I remember seeing these barrels with fire and all, you know, like that whole vibe of the South. And I was like, wow, this is wild. And I was in an alien planet, and I went to Tennessee, and I was just by myself. I would go to Tennessee, and I went and drove off in these rural places and just found like nature spots. I would just go sit, I like showered under a waterfall. And I'll go all these stories, but basically right. the next.
Hold on. Just for our listeners.
Yeah.
Tennessee is not another country.
No.
It's not another planet. Just.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
To a 17-year-old coming from the West Coast, then yeah.
Yeah.
What were you learning during this time?
First thing coming to mind is like how to be.
So let me interrupt.
I was learning that I was learning that it was all real and possible. Like it wasn't just theory at this point. I was learning, my own independence, but I was already sort of convinced of that for some reason. But I was learning, I guess I imagine I was learning to a degree that I could literally do anything. I was learning to be okay with myself. I was learning to be okay being alone, and I was learning to be okay. I was learning to be okay being on my own, which I'm learning, I think, is what many young people are afraid of, and why they're afraid of not going to college, and why they're afraid of leaving college is because the idea, it's like this ominous being on your own. It seems so scary. And I think I was learning that that was not scary, and it was actually awesome and better than anything I'd ever experienced.
All right, dude. That's just fantastic to hear, right? So
that's what you want. That's exactly what your listeners should hear too. It's better. It's so much better.
Right. That's the idea. So no, you didn't get the traditional college experience because you were learning something that's not possible to learn in college, which is to really be you, right? Who you are, how you can live on your own, how you can make things work. Again, what everyone has told me, and I'm only now realizing this, is travel is the best form of learning. Every single day, it's problem solving, it's learning
constantly.
It's discovery, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what you were doing for some months, or it sounds like at least.
About almost a year, 6 months to a year. For my van adventures.
I really believe you have to be so open because you're going into a different culture. You know, you don't know what people are thinking, and you have to have this whole new mindset of sort of understanding how to navigate territory.